Hello, this is my week 8 assignment. We're tasked to style the previous week's HTML website with CSS external style sheets. This is my first page. I used the first, I named it first styles to pertain to the index. I changed the background color. I styled the font, and I also aligned it to the center here, as you can see it with a border, with a shadow, and I overlined it. Header 2 is this aspiring front end developer. Oh, and this image is within header 1. The second header is just this text here. I changed the color, the font size to 30 megapixels, and I also centered it and underlined it. Excuse me. Header 3 is just contact info. Changed the font size, the color, centered it, added a shadow. Header 5, which just would be currently learning, and I centered it. Header 6 would be the actual list itself, unordered list, and I changed the text. And using a class selector, I took that same information and I aligned it to the left and changed the megapixels. Moving on to the next page, which would be my education. I also did pretty much the same thing. The color, edited the header 1, which is the education lettering here, and it also contains the image, which is also why it's centered. I use a class to call this the table. I left the margin auto to the right and left to have it floating in the middle so it centers. The border, and added a border, a solid border, a black border. The back button made it bold, as well as use another class selector to make the this lettering here bold as well. And lastly, we move on to my projects page, which I decided to get a little bit creative with since it's a projects page. Pretty much the same thing. Background in the body. Header 1 would be the projects up here, which is just kind of like the title I use. Header 2. Header 1 also, I believe, contains my image. That's why it's also centered. Yes. Yeah, that's why that's centered. Header 2 is basically this box here. I aligned everything to the center and added a solid border, and changed the font size to 15 megapixels. In header 3, I have do you have some projects? Well, this text here with the form in it, so it's also centered. And I changed the text, the color, and added a shadow as well. In header 5, we have this previous page. Oh, this thank you image is also within header. Let me see, where is this? The thank you. Why is it centered? I believe it's within header 5. Projects. Yeah, this would be in header 3, so that's why it's centered. So we're on header 6, which is the header 6. No, we're on header 3. Yeah, and that also contains this previous page. And we changed the font size and added a background. A text shadow, and we center it. That's why everything is centered. Everything is pretty much centered. Header 5 is also centered. Header 6. Oops, this is not it. I'm so sorry. The last page would be header 2. We were here. Header 3, which is this area here. This previous page text. Just change the font. Header 5 is just this back text and the home text with these two images, and they are centered. That's why it says header 5. I used an ID selector to select the back and the previous page to edit, and texts to edit their properties, color, and text shadow. And that pretty much wraps up my coding assignment project for week 8.